My trip to St. Thomas last year, which produced one of our best images that we've done so far, was all related to taking the motor drive sequence from our new camera that shoots 10 frames a second and printing a motor drive sequence of a billfish as a single frame or single entity, a single picture. It works so well for us with the blue marlin that I wanted to take it and translate that into other species. And so I chose to try and shoot the shot with the Pacific sailfish. There are a lot of places around the world that we could have chosen, but Costa Rica came to mind for a number of reasons. I met the owner of Frenzy Sport Fishing, Jamie Walker, and his wife Jenny when we were at the Pirates Cove tournament last year. And part of what Jamie does at Frenzy is a very strong billfish on fly program. So they do marlin on fly, they do sailfish on fly, and it really got me thinking that it was possible to take what he was doing on the fly and convert it to teasing the fish onto the camera. There was another connection to Quepos. I'd been in Quepos and fished in Quepos 18 plus years ago when I worked as a casual mate on some of the sport fishing boats in those days. And while I was there and working there, I met Harry Gray, who was at that time setting a bunch of world records on fly. You know, there's a story about Harry in Venezuela chartering a boat and hand-feeding blue marlin ballyhoo off the transom of the boat. And so those initial stories were a big part of what I've done over the last few years, teasing billfish up to the camera to get those shots that haven't been shot before. And Quepos represented a start for that. Once we had decided to shoot in Quepos, we made arrangements, flew down and met Jamie and Jenny at the airport in San Jose. We then transferred from the big jet onto a little King Air 90 and had a very eventful bouncy ride through the tops of the rainforest before coming down in Manuel Antonio. We transferred over to Casa Carolina, which is their home in Manuel Antonio, and started prepping for the next day. We brought in Jose, the captain, and Marco, the first mate, as well as Mako. And right from the beginning, we could see that these guys knew what they were doing. Getting a billfish on fly and getting it teased up and onto the fly was these guys' specialty. And then I need your help when the boat slows to bring the teasers in, and you must try and make the fish hit me. I want to touch the fish when he comes past. I need to be that close. From day one, we started with a flat calm sea, but left with the clouds. We need, with this motor drive sequence at 10 frames a second, to shoot very high shutter speeds. To freeze the action and get the drive turning over to get the shots of the entire sequence of the billfish coming past us underwater. So the first morning I was a bit jittery, and we were all a bit jittery, sort of feeling each other out about how we're going to do this, who's going to do what, how this works. And Jamie suggested that we start with the setup. Let's try a dry run, get everybody in position, get the teasing guys in position, get the cameras in position. Two seconds later, Jose's in the tower, screaming, fish on, fish on. So right off the bat, things were different. We had a different species of fish. You know, I was used to these blue marlin from St. Thomas that just come barreling in after that teaser. The sailfish are different. There was still some sort of hesitance with the fish, and this was something we had to get around. It wasn't just that the fish were a little bit warier than the blue marlin. We had brought along another camera on this trip, so we were trying to capture on video us capturing the stills. So we had 2 photographers, or 1 videographer and myself, getting into the water that now had to work. And at the same time, we had to try and keep the video out of the frame when we brought the drive sequence across. And so it ended up kicking the videographer and being in each other's way. We had a couple of things we needed to tweak, but most of all, we knew we were in the right place. This wasn't a whole days and days of working that needed to be done. Is it more difficult for you with the camera, with Luke and I getting in with the camera? Do you do different things?
No, I do the same. It's the same. It's not pitching the same. Only the difference is going to just jump in the water.
And sometimes the fish go.
Scare the fish. Go a different way. They fly.
He first tells me like, Marcos, we're boarding some guys, and they're gonna be shooting a show. You know, they're gonna jump in the water, and you know, as we're fishing. And I go like, yeah, well, that's perfect. And then he tells me like, we ain't gonna be using no hooks though. I go like, what? No hooks? Ah.
No matter which boat I'm on, everybody looks at me and goes, no hooks. Oh. I said to Jamie on one shot, Jamie, I'd like to get a sailfish shot of a sailfish striking a popper with hooks in it. And if it wasn't for Jamie's ears, he would have smiled the top of his head off. You know, that's still what people want to do.
Oh, I felt a lot better when you said, let's put the hooks in. Because we were back to our game then. And everything then had to happen like it has when we're normally fly fishing, okay? Despite the fact that you guys were going to jump in the water. Marco and I are right here together. We're like a unit right here together, you know? He's watching the reaction of the fish. If it slows down, he slows down, okay? The whole time, I'm sitting there waiting on, cast the fly, you know? And as soon as I get that, it's like, bam, bam.
Through all this pressure that we were feeling, we were also able to get in and enjoy ourselves and relax. We would come up on these massive logs, literally entire trees that were floating underwater, and around these trees, 40 miles out at sea, would be this oasis of life. At one stage, Luke and I swam up to this big turtle and started scratching him on the shell, and he just loved it. He tilted to the side, and we were scratching on the algae, and then I noticed barnacles around his neck, and I picked at the barnacles and picked them off, and if it was a cat, it would have been purring. It was beautiful to watch, and it's incredible being in the ocean and being part of that environment. You know, you're participating in something that is so interconnected, and it was great to relax on 2 or 3 days in the afternoon late and get in on these floating islands of life. I was antsy to begin with because we had woken up, and the first thing I do is look out the window, and if it's grey and gloomy and all the rest, I start getting uptight, and I'm crawling up the sides of the gunnels by the time I get to the boat, and there's a lot of pressure involved in getting the shot. On that morning, we headed south, and It was just grey and cloudy. We were literally scooting through these squalls trying to find a nice clear area which seemed to be out there and then would disappear. But it wasn't that bright colour that we need. We need that bright sunlight for those shots. And just magically out of nowhere, this hole appeared, and it was blue sky with a spotlight burning down on the ocean. And no sooner had we pulled through that spotlight, then wow, all hell broke loose. And Jose's screaming from the top of the tower, and everybody's getting in position. And I just couldn't believe we were sitting there in bright sunlight while we're completely surrounded by squalls and grey cloud. The first shot of the fish was so close that it was actually out of focus. My heart's going 1,000 miles an hour. The fish turned around, made a big loop, and came back on the teaser. And from about 20 feet away, I had it. The fish lit up. It started changing color. Its sail was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful purple, a deep, 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 rich purple. And that fish, onto a pink fathom teaser, grabbed hold of the hookless teaser and just bit down, but in doing so was coming straight for me. I can lean out and grab it by the pectoral, it's that close. I surfaced, and I know Luke, the videographer, surfaced, and we screamed blue murder when we got to the surface. Climbed back in the boat, everyone was hugging, and the crew was excited. They were ecstatic about what we had just done, and that perfect situation. You know, how more perfect could it get? By that time we were in grey again, and it was about to start raining again. Again, I could never do this as just a photographer. For 7 days in Costa Rica, we had a team of, you know, probably 8 people that all they did was help me get this photograph. My name is Marc Montocchio, and this is Shades of Grey.
Okay, this is Quepos, Costa Rica. Take one, go.
Thank you, Mark.